How long did it take for you to write that speech?
A couple days, back and forth. It's hard to summarize a guy's impact and his legacy, what he means to all of us in 5 minutes, but, I think everybody felt it between his speech, me, Bob, Steve, just the whole night. It's very weird and surreal watching him be the first one of all of us to go up there and celebrate everything we accomplished. But it all makes sense. So it was a really, really, really cool night.
Hey, Steph, I don't want to stretch this too far, but with the impact that Jimmy's had and the way he plays, and then this night, this day being for Andre, do you feel a similar? I mean, they're not the same guy, they're not the same player, but do you feel there's similar kind of impact that Jimmy's making is kind of what Andre meant to you 5-7 years ago?
If it impacts winning, then yeah, we're off to a good start. They're different players, different resumes, different styles, but when they're on the floor, usually good things happen. And you love players like that who understand the game, have a high IQ, lift the level of everybody around them. Like that's a hard thing to do, and it's such a commodity in the league. But then when you have a superstar like Jimmy who's done it year after year after year, you feel it right away.
Steph, All-Star. Andre closed out saying this is the beginning of the Steph Curry celebration. That being said, on top of the fact that Jimmy Butler is playing so well with you guys and you guys are all playing well together, is there an added sense of urgency to winning this year, knowing that you guys have kind of found a stride with Jimmy Butler and hearing Andre Iguodala say, this is the beginning of basically, you can read between the lines as to what he was saying?
I think in general, like what I was talking about before out there, just it cements a moment in time where like you're reflecting on the last however many, 12 years when Andre joined our team. I felt like I was kind of like coming into my prime at that point, and now I'm still on the floor competing. There's a sense of urgency just because you're not going to be able to do it at this level forever. And we talked about that pre-trade, which is why Jimmy is here. And we all love expectations. We love playing for something meaningful. And the only energy you're putting out there is for to try to get it done. So that's really it. His comment, like I never say that about myself, but just the idea that it's we're in a moment where we still can win, and we're still talking about a guy that helped us do that for a decade.
Steph, in your speech, you brought up Andre being the first outside star to choose you guys, to pick the Warriors, to kind of see the vision before anybody else. When you get to reflect years later now, what did that moment truly mean to you?
It was an unlock of confidence. When you have a star who, like I said, was a face of a franchise in Philly, helped the really powerful Denver team for the 2 years I think he was there. And then he had a choice to make at a very important part of his career of where do I want to play for the next 4 years and where can I win and where can I, fit in with a group that is coming into their own identity, and that was us. And like I said, I remember the moment after we beat them in the playoffs in 2013. Like I said, we had a history from playing together in the Team USA team, and that was the first time I kind of noticed or was aware, like, hey, guys see what we're capable of, and a guy like Andre, who's one of the smartest guys in any room he walks into, and when he came with that energy of, I love what you're doing, I love how y'all do it, congrats, whatever he said, to then be able to get him in free agency, that unlocked just so much confidence for us that we're on the right path, and the rest is history.
You guys are a pretty big plus in the last 6 games when you're on the bench. How massive is that? And even just for you, I mean, how much more, I guess, relaxed do you feel going to the bench?
I don't ever say I'm relaxed, but it's the idea of just a comfort knowing when you one back to old rotations where you're playing a set block out for a block and come back in. But the formula is different with Jimmy just because you can run the offense through him. And not only offensively is that group figured out, but defensively I think it's been Draymond, Jimmy, I think BP's been out there. QP's had some big minutes in that group. They've just been playing a really solid, smart basketball, and like you said, the plus minus just tell the whole story. Totally different than what it was before, where you felt a little bit of pressure to try to create a little separation because we were trying to fill some holes in those minutes. But I like this formula. It makes sense. It works. We just got to keep doing it.
Steph, you've talked about how Jimmy changes the dynamics for you and how every possession doesn't feel as hard. How do you think he changes it for Moses and Brandon, who were both playing well before the trade, but it seems like they're thriving even more now in that opening group?
It's just another guy who demands attention. Well, this might not be like an all-out double team, but you see he can get into the paint. If he's not finishing for himself, he is under control and is always trying to look for the open guy. And those two guys, it simplifies their role on offense because either you catch and shoot, or you catch and drive, or you catch and swing it. You cut to open space and something good will happen. So, he's a playmaker and like a shot creator on his own, and also when he gets by his first defender, he creates a domino effect, and somebody's going to benefit on the backside. So simplifying the game itself and simplifying decisions for other guys, it helps, especially, the speed of the game. No matter what defense we're facing, you can usually create a good shot.
Steph, I asked Andre earlier about what made playing with you guys so special versus coming from Philly. And he said, like, you and Clay came from NBA families, so you didn't trip off the fanfare, kind of laid back. Draymond always asked why, how can you be better? And then he said his veteran presence, it just kind of balanced it out. Do you agree?
Yeah, that was the formula for sure. We were just the hired gun, or the reckless attack from the perimeter, and what people hadn't seen before. Draymond was a guy that could figure out, no matter what lineup he was out there with, how to make his presence felt. And then I think you heard the crowd, like Andre, Sean, whoever, LB was out there, Mo Space. Like we had David Lee. We had so many guys who were just high IQ veterans that understood what their role was and did it, starred in that role. So all the pieces fit, they worked. And, like I said, Andre was the first to understand. Didn't matter how it looked, didn't matter what he was asked to do. He checked his ego at the door, and everybody kind of followed suit. So it was a match made in heaven all the way around.
Hey, Steph, all the years you've played with Iggy, what stands out as one of the most memorable moments that you guys have shared?
He wasn't, I don't know if he'll like this story. He wasn't a big drinker. And after we won the first championship in Cleveland, having like a first shot with him, like that was a big moment. You took a championship to get him to take a shot of tequila. That embodies just all the hard work that goes into it. It takes, that consistent effort, that sacrifice from everybody that experienced what a championship was like, and then he kind of let some of his loosen some of his personal rules and had a good night with us. So he promised us that, and he came through.
Steph, you've talked about how the night is something you kind of use late in games when you know it's over. Today we saw you use it in the third quarter. Is there
Not the first time I've done that.
Not the first time?
No, did that in the finals. So whatever the question is, it's just a moment that I had with somebody on the other side. Longer story.
Well, on top of that, is your level of confidence the highest it's been this season, to do that, something you did earlier in a game in the NBA Finals?
That's a reflection of that for sure, but I think with what we're doing right now, everybody playing with confidence, having fun, like usually for me that's when you're not like a front running type team where when things are going great, but you have to kind of manifest that with playing with joy, and then that feeds on itself. So the confidence produces good play, which allows you to have fun, and then you try to repeat that cycle as much as possible. The night stuff is never really predictable. It's just whenever I'm feeling it, and you got to be good to do it.
Steph, I'm curious if you can share maybe what the best piece of advice he's given you, whether it's on the floor or off the court, that really kind of sticks out to you when you think about Andre.
I don't know if it's a specific message per se, but there's just a level of maturity he brought when he came that, like, I think Malika just said, like, me and Clay, we had been around the league growing up. The lights and the fanfare, the spotlight never really, bothered us or changed like who we were as people. But his presence from day one, and that maturity he brought from practice to the games to the way he spent his time off the court, like you just kind of watch it from a distance. You understood not only one, how to win at the highest level and the way to build a culture on a team, and from a leadership perspective, like how you use your voice. That was one of the bigger things for me as a leader. But it was just a sophistication with how he did everything that allowed us to kind of manifest greatness. And I think Coach said it out there, he's an old spirit. He's wise beyond his years, and I think that just gave us such a confidence knowing we could compete at that highest level, understanding that you had a guy that wasn't going to be rattled by anything, and that's just who he is as a person.